Hey guys, so as you can see, I'm starting my video off a little differently. I already had primed and applied my foundation to my face, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything. Let me just pull out my camera. So that is why my face is already prepped and ready to go. So I'm starting off with the Maybelline Master Conceal and using that to prep my eyes for shadow. So I'm just doing what I always do. I go in, make crazy faces, and I pat my concealer all over my eyes to get it the desired shade that I want. And by doing this, I'm just prepping my eyes. That way it's light and it works as a good base. After that, I go in and set my concealer with the AIRSPUN setting powder. And then of course, as you can see, I'm using packing motions. I'm not making little circles or swirling it around because I don't want to push the product. I just want to set it. Seriously, you guys, just for like a fair warning, I am kind of jumping everywhere today. So now, for some reason, I was like, let's do brows. So I'm using my dip brow in the shade medium brown. Nothing new. This is how I always fill in my brows. I honestly think that I'm gonna do a brow tutorial just because I feel like my brows are pretty full. There's not much to it, but I know that some people have like a harder time. This is actual time. I didn't edit any time out because I wanted to show like really how long it takes to do brows. I know some people kind of like jump and show bits and pieces, and I feel like it's not really being honest. Like, it doesn't take you 30 seconds to do a brow, which is why I was like, you know what, let's just keep it in real time. I'm not going to edit anything out. So I go in and I basically just carve out this outer portion of my brow, and then as I get towards the front, I kind of just flick it and feather it out. You're gonna see me do my other brow, but that one I fast forwarded because I was like, we ain't got time for that. Let's just keep it moving. I say your place when we So once I'm done filling in my brows, I go with like the tiniest bit of concealer. I'm using the Master Conceal in the shade Light, and I'm taking this very tiny brush and I'm just going to use it to carve it out just to give it a little more of a cleaner touch. My brows haven't really been on their A game lately, so I'm like, you know what, let me just carve them out. They gotta be tweezed anyways. Let's just fake it till we make it. And by the way, let me say, I totally see that I have concealer on my neck. So this is why, because I don't even know what I was doing, but I kind of laid back really quickly and the brush fell on my chest, and that's why I have foundation. Well, it's actually concealer. My bad. It's concealer. And I didn't even see it, and I was like, dude, I look crazy. I figured you guys were going to be like, this bitch can't even put on makeup, right? She's trying to put it all over her neck and ain't even the right color. What is she doing making videos? Nah, but okay. So I'm just going in and I'm cleaning up the rest of my brow. I use that smaller brush just for precision, and then I'm using this, I think it's an Urban Decay brush, to just kind of blend it all out. So I don't really know the names of each shade or if they even have names, so I'm just going to be pointing to the shades that I use. That shade that I picked up was like a taupey, soft brown, like super nude shade, and I'm just using that as my transition. And as you can see, I'm using like a big fluffy brush. I'm going in circular motions. Honestly, this brush like does blending on its own. Like, I barely have to do anything and the shade is just like blended instantly. Okay, let's be real. It doesn't blend like instantly, but it makes blending a hell of a lot easier. So those of you who have like a harder time blending, I definitely recommend this brush. I will link it. Well, I'm not gonna link it. I'll tell you what brush it is. Okay, so on that same brush, I'm using a deeper shade of brown. It's actually still it's a light brown, but I'm just using that to further deepen the crease. I'm not going as high up, I'm staying a little lower, but I'm still doing little circular motions to blend it into that transition shade. So now for my lid, I'm using this gold shade. I'm using some Fix Plus on a flat shader brush, and I'm going to pack this onto my lid. So I did have to go in back and forth to kind of get the desired color that I wanted. As you can see, I'm kind of packing it on. I'm not taking it too high and I'm not taking it too far back into my outer eye. And I'm also not bringing it too far in to my inner eye because that I'm going to use a lighter shade with later. And then again, I'm going in with that second soft brown that I used on a more dense fluffy brush, and I'm using that to kind of blend all the shades together in the crease area. So now I'm going in with an even deeper shade of brown, and this is, you can actually see it's a dark brown, and here's where I had to move very carefully because if you take it too high, it's just so much more harder to blend. Here I'm going kind of fast, but I had already kind of packed on the product that I wanted. Here you can kind of see I'm like, okay, slowly go up, blend a little bit, come back down, because if I take it too high up, since I have hooded eyes, it can get very messy very quick. And as you can see, I'm kind of going back and forth. I'm slowly picking up product, going in, blending it a little higher, and then going back in with a little bit more product. I kind of felt like this side was looking a little too harsh, so I just went over it with my finger. You can do whatever you want. I use my finger, you can use a brush, but I was just like, no, let me just fix this really quickly. So now I'm taking this nude shade on the same fluffy brush that I was using earlier, and I'm just using that to run over my darker shadows to kind of blend it out a little more. I'm not going too high up, like into my brow bone, like as if I was highlighting. I'm just going right over that shadow to kind of blend it out a little more. Okay, so for the inner part of my eye, I'm going to be taking the lightest shade from the palette, and I'm going to be packing that on the inner third of my eye, the first kind of portion, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to be packing that in there until I get the desired color. I did have to go back a few times, but I'm kind of packing it, then blending it, and then packing it again. That way I don't make it too intense and it overpowers the shimmery shade. Then with that same brush that I used for my crease, I'm really quickly just going in and kind of blending over it. That way everything looks nice and blended. So for my liner, I'm using the NYC liquid liner. This is actually a very nice, inexpensive liner. Like, if you haven't tried it, you really should. So the way I do my liner is I kind of go in and I kind of draw the lines first and the outer part, like the actual wing, just to make sure they're even, because I know sometimes I tend to kind of have them like a little lopsided, like my wings kind of want to fly away, but I learned to do that first, that way I can see that they're even. Then once I feel like they're good to go, I go in and I create the wing, and then I slowly connect it back to my eye. I know I do my liner very weird, and then I go in and yeah, this is just kind of what I do. I can go in depth, but I honestly don't think I'm like the master of liner, so I kind of just wing it, honestly. And just like a tip, if you feel like your wings are just like so uneven and there's just no way of fixing it, throw on a thick ass pair of lashes, because those bad boys will save the day and no one's gonna tell that you have messed up liner. Nobody. So here I'm quickly applying a thin coat of mascara. I really don't take time to fully brush them and comb them out because I am going to go in with a thick pair of lashes anyways, so I just use it to kind of blend them a little bit better. So here I'm applying my lashes. Since my nails were pretty short, I was able to use my actual fingers to help apply my lashes versus using my tweezers, but I do go in to kind of help guide the lash to stick to the front part of my eye because that part is a little tricky. I am so sorry, you guys. That was my dog. She's so rude. She obviously can't tell that I'm doing my voiceover, but whatever. I'm just finishing applying my lashes, and then I go back in to kind of squeeze the fake lash and my real lashes together. That way it glues a little better. So now, to highlight like a mad woman, I am using the Naked Skin Concealer in the shade Light Warm, and I'm just going to be doing what I always do, the triangle looking thing on my face on both sides, and then of course down the bridge of my nose, on my chin, and on my forehead. So I have been using my Real Techniques Beauty Sponge dry, and I find that it pushes the product into my face so much more better like it would with my brush versus picking it up. So I'm like, you know what, let me just use this. So I'm pushing the product into my skin versus picking it up, and I feel like it has such a better color payoff. I mean, I'm sure this is not what this sponge was designed for, but this is just how I'm using it, and I actually like it so much more better this way. If you're not like me and you don't like an extreme under eye highlight, I wouldn't recommend this. If you like to use it damp to pick up that extra product, then go for it. But this is just how I personally like how to do it because I love a really intense under eye highlight, and I feel like the color payoff is way much more better and it's not pricking up the product and I'm actually using it. So for this look, I'm not really baking, I'm just going in to set everything, and to set my concealer, I'm using the AIRSPUN Loose Setting Powder. So now that I have a super intense highlight, I'm going back to add some color to my face. I'm using the NYC Skin Bronzer in the shade Sunny. So I'm not really doing anything different. I'm using this big fluffy brush from Bare Minerals, and I'm picking up a little bit of product, going in, blending it out, and then going back in and adding more. One thing about bronzing or contouring is that if you use too much product too fast, it is very hard to blend out. Like if you're not good at blending, and it can look really harsh and really intense, and sometimes that just doesn't look cute. So I just go in with a little bit of product at a time. So of course I blend it on my cheeks, I hide the chins, and then of course on my forehead to bronze it up to make it look a little even, and then of course my nose too. And as far as bronzing my nose, I usually go over it really quickly, but today I was like, why? Let's just go ahead and contour it, right? Might as well. So I just picked up, this is an Anastasia brush, and I just picked up the tiniest bit of bronzer, and I'm running it on the sides of my nose to kind of give it that contoured effect. So to clean up my contour slash bronze, I'm going in with the AIRSPUN just to clean it up a little bit to make it look a little sharper. So now I'm going back with that deep brown that I used on my eyes, and I'm going to use that and put it right underneath my lash line to kind of give my eye a little more definition. And then with that lighter brown that I used for my crease, I'm going in to kind of buff it out a little bit. Well, not necessarily to buff out the brown, but just to blend it and bring it down a little more. And then once I'm all done with that, I take a big stippling brush and I dust off all the extra AIRSPUN powder that I had underneath my contour. So for blush, I'm using Milani's Luminoso, and I'm taking this on a big fluffy brush and I'm just applying it right above my contour. I'm not really applying it at the center of my cheekbones because I don't want to make my face look, I don't know. I don't know what term to use because I feel like if I put too much blush on the center of my cheeks, it's not flattering. So for my highlight, I'm taking MAC Fix Plus and I'm spraying it on a brush. I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Illuminating Palette in the shade Catwalk Pink. I'm taking the first and last two shades and I'm going to be applying this on the highest point of my cheekbones. I'm also going to take it and put it on the bridge of my nose, the center of my nose, and I also put a little bit on the top of my brows, and then I'm applying just a little bit on my chin. And by a little bit, I mean like 5 layers. So with that same shade that I used to highlight the inner part of my eye, I'm taking it and applying it to my brow bones. I forgot to film my last part, but basically all I did was I took some Maybelline lipstick in the shade New Lust and I just applied it all over my lips. And that's it. That completes the look. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Bye!